guest this evening. Hey, Connor, how are you?
Hi, how's it going?
It's going great. Glad you're here with us. Connor is a staff member here with Lake Erie Council, also worked on our camp staff for a number of years, and most importantly for today, he is a geocaching merit badge counselor. So thanks for joining us, Connor.
Hey, it's my pleasure.
Well, this evening we are doing a short skills demonstration on how to get started with geocaching, and Connor's going to kind of walk us through the tools that you need, how you can get started in your neighborhood, the nuts and bolts behind it. And if you don't have a geocaching unit, or you'd like to do something indoors, particularly on days that, like today, turned from very nice outside to not so nice outside, we're also going to show you a fun way to do geocaching indoors. But to start us off, Connor, how did you start with geocaching, and what exactly is geocaching?
Well, I started geocaching when I was pretty young. My dad has always been a sort of a tech guy, so back when we were on family vacations, he'd pull out an old GPS unit, and we'd go on a hike and hunt down a couple of caches along the way, and that's how we spent time together. So geocaching is sort of a very digital type of sport, I guess you'd call it, where it's physical, but you are using a piece of technology along the way to make things a little bit more interesting. It's a worldwide treasure hunt, you could call it.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Hidden boxes, fun prizes inside of them, and adventure along the way. And it's a whole community across the world with millions of geocaches and every conceivable place you could think of to hide them. So if you want to get involved, there's 1,000,001 ways to start.
That sounds interesting. If there's caches all over, but I don't see them in like just walking around from my day-to-day life. That sounds really interesting. I like the sound of a treasure hunt.
Yeah, that's sort of the whole point of it, is to keep things a little bit hidden. There's a whole sort of culture around it to get people involved in geocaching and make it fun and interesting. And it sort of starts with going out and just finding your first cache, and we'll see if you get hooked on that.
Sounds like a plan. I mean, technology, treasure hunting, this sounds right up my alley. So if I wanted to get started, what's the best place to look?
So to start is pretty easy. I'd say go to geocaching.com. It's the central hub for all of the geocaching activities, including hiding caches, finding them, and even events and communities around geocaching. You can go to the website on your phone, on your computer. There's even an app for your mobile devices that you can download and use as a GPS to find some geocaches.
Oh, very cool. So even if I don't have like a typical GPS unit, I can just use my phone and start from there?
That's right, yeah. Any GPS unit, including your phone, works just fine. So you mind if I show you the website a little bit, show you how it works, and get some people started on this?
Yeah, please do.
Okay.
And if you're joining us live here tonight, if you have any questions for Connor about getting started or the gear he uses or anything like that, please throw in the comments below, and we'd be happy to answer some questions on air with you.
All right, can y'all see this screen here?
Looks pretty good.
All right, so this is the geocaching website. Starts you off pretty simple. On the home page here, you can put in where you're currently at, uses your current location, short, simple. If you hit search, it'll pull up a whole bunch of caches in your area.
All sorts now, in that search box, that doesn't look like my address there. What is that?
No, so the way we do locations in geocaching is a little bit different than putting down some numbers and names in a street address. Okay. The whole world is mapped like this, with these coordinates, we call them. Degrees, minutes, and seconds, as they break down. And that tells you exactly where you are in relation to the world around you. If I show you the map here, we can actually see all sorts of geocaches all around us, and I'm talking, there's hundreds just everywhere. So
you are not kidding.
You've got great places to start. So let me show you what you're looking at here. There's a whole bunch of different size caches. These are they range from small little film canisters, if you remember what film canisters are, all the way up to big old boxes. I got a couple pictures here that I can show you. We've got, oh, that's a GPS. We've got little Tupperware boxes. We've got big old bins. And when you're out treasure hunting, some of the harder ones to find even are hidden in creative ways. Maybe a hollowed out screw or a fake snail attached to the side of a telephone pole here. So,
oh wow, you're right. That could be really hard to find. Although the bigger one looks like it would be a little bit easier. The Tupperware one, I'd be afraid I've just picked up somebody's lunch.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about all these geocaches is they have to be people don't find them and throw them away.
Interesting.
So when
okay, so
yeah, go ahead.
So we've kind of located a general area, but if we want a particular,
so let's just choose a cache around here. We're gonna maybe call this one here, and gotta cache them all. You click on the cache, and it gives you some basic details, and then you can click again to find some more information here. All the caches have this sort of info page. It lists right here in the middle of the screen. It lists their coordinates. This is what you plug into your GPS unit, and it will actually direct you basically where to go in a straight line. So it's a matter of finding your way and using the GPS to actually get you close enough that you can start looking for this cache.
So that those numbers up there, the latitude and longitude, those coordinates, that's going to give you a spot on the map. And if I want to go from where I am to where that geocache is, it's not going to like tell me which roads to take. It's just going to say it's 60 miles this way, right?
That's right. Or when you get close enough, it'll say, oh, it's 15 feet away, and that's it. You got to start looking for it. So it's basically like a pirate treasure map. You've got to go to the location, and then you've just got to dig, or well, you don't dig, but you search around and see what you can find.
Okay, so I had a question there, but I think I forgot it now. If I was nope, I lost it. Keep going.
That's okay. So once you find a cache, and the caches are usually described in some vague way here in the geocache description area, then once you find it, there will be a little logbook inside of it, usually a scrap of paper or a small notebook, and you're supposed to say that, oh, I've been here, I found it, here's, thanks for the cache, and if you took something, if you took a little piece of treasure, you say, hey, I took something, and maybe I left something behind, so...
kind of like a take a penny, leave a penny sort of thing?
That's sort of like how it goes. Yeah, the whole culture is about making sure everyone can have fun with it. So on the website here, there's actually a digital version of those same paper logs. You can see here, we've got all sorts of people saying, hey, I found it. This is a great place. Hey, thanks for leaving this. You'll see pretty much everyone is saying TFTC. That means thanks for the cache in internet speak. But everyone, either writes in the logbook or writes online, "Hey, I've been here, and this was a great time."
Well, that sounds really cool. So they give you a little description. How accurate can you get with your GPS unit? Like, how close can I get if I'm typing those coordinates?
Well, it really depends on what type of unit you're using. Modern units, you're going to get pretty close, probably within about 10, 15 feet. If you're in a forest, for example, and there's trees overhead blocking the signals from the satellites, then you may get closer to 20, 25 feet, and it'll be a little bit harder search for you. But using your phone, you're probably looking at about 10 to 15 feet in good conditions.
Okay, so if I'm thinking I might be 15 feet of accuracy, that's 15 feet in every direction. So that is still quite a ways that I could go searching for it.
That's right, yeah. And when you're in, for instance, a park, that's a lot of hiding places. There were, small places where something could be stashed to find.
Well, that sounds fun. So it sounds like you know a little bit more about like the satellites behind it. Can you explain how that works?
Sure. So back in the I think like 1980s, don't quote me on that, but the U.S. military launched a whole bunch of satellites into orbit to help them find a way around the world wherever they are. The satellites are really basic. They don't tell you anything about where you are, actually. The satellites, and this is pretty clever, tell you where they are. And your GPS unit takes those signals that say, hey, I'm here in this part of the sky at this time of the day, and they actually, your GPS unit that is, calculates where you are in relation to the time lag from those satellites.
Wow, that is fascinating. I always thought that the satellite was telling me where I was, but I guess when I think about it, that'd be a lot of calculations for that satellite to do instead of just saying where it is.
With everyone's phone going around all the time, that would be that'd be crazy.
That's pretty amazing. Hey, if there's anybody watching live with us that likes geocaching, we'd love to hear about any experiences you have. If you just want to say, hey, I do it too, or if you're here for the first time trying to learn how to get started, love to hear that too. Now, what is this Double Trouble? Can you tell me about this one?
So this is a cache near my house. I have found this one. It's in a small cemetery near here, and it's all, or actually, no, this one isn't. This one is the one that I've found. This was a random one I picked. This one looks like it's a fairly moderate difficulty geocache. You can see that every geocache lists, in terms of stars, the difficulty of it. This will tell you if you're a experienced geocacher that this might be an easier find, but if you're just starting out, this one may be a little bit tricky for you. Or if you go to something like this one that I found that has a 1-star difficulty, it was really easy, and I mean, just a casual stroll, whereas something like this, maybe you have to spend 10-15 minutes, pawing through a pile of leaves or checking around the backsides of telephone poles.
That's really nice that they put that information in there, since if I'm just getting started, I might just be looking for the 1 stars, or if I'm a really avid hiker and I want to get a real exercise workout in, maybe I have to look for a 5-star terrain or something.
That's right. And if you're using the geocaching app, it actually, just the free version restricts you to 1 and 2-star difficulty. So if you're just starting out, that may be an easy way to find an easy cache and get started right away.
Interesting. Now, sorry, go ahead.
This here is one of my geocaches that I've hidden.
Oh, cool. You made one.
You might notice that it's at one of our scout camps here, Beaumont Scout Reservation. During summer camp, we hide geocaches and send teams out to go find them all summer long, and it's a great fun. But this one was hidden just a little bit off of trail, and you've seen even out at a summer camp, everyone is saying, "Hey, this was a great find." So I highly recommend if you've got a little bit of time on your hands, maybe put together a geocache. It's really not hard to grab a little box and stick a notebook and a couple of trinkets in it, and you're off to the races.
I guess you probably want it to be something waterproof too, so no rain or snow can get inside, right?
Absolutely. You want to make sure your containers are waterproof. If you're hiding, you don't ever want to bury it, because people don't carry shovels, and if they did, they don't want to tear up the ground. But
leave no trace.
Yeah. Beyond that, there's pretty much no limits to where you can hide them. Hundreds of feet off the trail in a forest, or maybe just on the side of a road, even in a school parking lot.
Awesome. Well, I guess I have 2 questions left before we do our little indoor activity here. One is about the gear that you use. What do you like to go caching with? What could you recommend for people if they want to get into this, besides just using their smartphone?
So besides just your smartphone, I'd say one of these little doodads is probably your best bet. This is a Garmin eTrex GPS handheld unit. It's a very basic type of GPS unit, but it works for everyone from the beginners all the way up to the top hobbyists. And this is a very popular model if you search Google Images. And this was just like the first one of hundreds that I found of this one. So these are pretty cheap at any sort of outdoor store. 20 to 40 bucks, and you're going off on your own way.
Very cool. I think those are, the same type of units that we have at camp. So if your unit is coming out to Beaumont or Firelands and like to go on a geocaching adventure, you can borrow them from us. And, basically, I think you just you set a coordinate, you set a point on the map, and you change that to be the coordinates for the cache you're looking for, right? Just using their little interface there.
That's right.
Say go, and that's going to get you started, right?
That's right.
Awesome. Well, my second question is, what would you do with a cache if you just happen to find it on the side of the road? I'm thinking about like scout is curious, you know. It's what are some rules around geocaching, and how do you be polite when you're a geocacher?
Sure. So typically, when you're out on geocaching, you follow normal leave no trace guidelines. Keep everything clean. Keep yourself respectful of other people around you. One of the little secrets of the geocaching community is that the people who aren't geocachers, we try not to show them where geocaching hiding spots are. So, we'll look around, and if there's no one watching, then we'll grab the geocache if we know right where it is. Other than that, I'd say probably your best bet is you find a geocache just laying out clearly, not hidden, is put it under something nearby. That way it's a little bit out of the way, and it's not going to be picked up by someone who's out picking up trash. And then come here to the geocaching website and leave a little comment saying, hey, your geocache was moved, and I put it under this bench over here. So,
gotcha. And if you happen to stumble across one that is hidden, obviously you want to leave it there so it's in the right place for the next person to find it, right?
That's right. You want to put it right back where you found it.
Awesome. Well, if you are interested in doing geocaching, I think that I am going to have to try this once the weather clears up here. I was looking at the geocaching.com that you showed us, and there are a couple caches within my neighborhood, so that's pretty exciting. But we put together a little activity for those that are stuck indoors, and how you can do geocaching for your family or a sibling. So a little recommendation that we have is you could do like a floor plan of your house and then put a grid over top of it. You guys can see that. So if you're thinking about the grid of the world, you got your latitude and longitude, and that is represented here on my little floor plan of my house. So the lines going up and down represented by the numbers are going to be my latitude, and the horizontal lines going across are going to be the longitude, and those are represented by letters. So now I've got a map that I can follow, and then the coordinate that I'm going to try and find was given to me by my wife. She put this together for me. For example, number 1 looks like we're going to E12 or E15. E15. So I'm going to take you guys on an adventure around my house here, and we'll do some indoor geocaching.
Very cool. Jarrod, is there a little hint on that post-it note there for you?
There is, because this map could get me within looks like maybe 5 feet. But again, that could be a lot of places to look. So we're going to go to E15 first, which if I'm following my coordinates, it's going to be in our living room. Here's E, and then 15 is all the way to the right on the wall. So let's go check it out. And when we get there, the hint we're looking for is it's time to find your first prize. Interesting. All right, so following my map, we're in the E zone. Should be over to the right of our TV here. And 15 looks like it's right across right along the wall. So looking here, it's time to find your first prize. Let's see. See any books or anything here that may be prize related? Maybe one of these. I know I'm looking for a cache that should be in a Tupperware or something. Looking around. Got some cookbooks. Ted wants to get involved here. This one is proving to be difficult to find.
Now, the thing with geocaches is that a lot of people look down, but forget totally to look up. So is there anything hidden up top, maybe behind your TV, or?
Good question. Let's keep looking. Maybe I'm not to this level of difficulty yet. Maybe let's look for the second one.
Got a 5-star going on.
Our second one should be a W14. The hint is, don't be a square. This is such a fun game. So W is down at the bottom of the map here. And 14 looks like it should be pretty close to the end of the wall again. So we're going back into our little office here. This looks more promising. Here's our game shelf. So the hint is, don't be a square. This is such a fun game. So looking for something with squares, I imagine.
There's a lot of good hiding places here.
There are. So let's look. This one has squares in the on the box here. Nothing in there. Let's see. We have some puzzles. Nothing there. Oh, here it is.
Oh, there you go. Looks like you got a little something inside there. What's going on there?
It's true. So this is, looks like I found the prize. This is a little golf ball that's been carved into a Santa face. Who, if anybody out there knows John Sanders, who does a lot of programs with us out at Fire Island Scout Reservation, he carves these. So that's the little prize. Then you said if I take something, I have to leave something, right?
That's right.
Well, I'm going to leave a little trinket like this. This is my little turtle guy. He's going to be put into the bag for the next one. And how do I end this? I have to put this back into the same spot for the next geocacher, right?
Put it back where you found it, and if there's anything on top, you got to cover it up. So it's just the same difficulty for the next person.
All right, put it back into the box. Back into the same hiding spot. And done.
Very cool.
Well, thanks for going on that adventure with me. I'm going to have to keep searching for that first geocache because now I'm super curious.
They'll never let you go, so.
I guess not. Hey, Anthony, he's producing behind the scenes. Any comments or questions from the crowd watching?
We're all good right now, Jarrod.
Fantastic.
I will have to say, Mrs. Moore Blundy there is pretty good at hiding those geocaches from you there, Jarrod.
She told me earlier that her family used to go geocaching together, so she just got kind of a leg up on me. Well, Connor, I want to thank you so much for joining me today to go through our geocaching adventure and spreading the knowledge. And I know I, for one, am pretty excited to try this out for real. And if you guys are as well, I'd love to see pictures of it. So make sure you share those with social media with #scouting@home. And if you try and do an indoor challenge like I did, I'd like to see how that turns out for you. Maybe better than mine did. All right.
Right.
Well, thanks, everybody. And if you are a Scouts BSA member, maybe look up Connor in the future for a future merit badge, for the geocaching merit badge. We've got a link to that in the Scout book in the description of this video. And I know that you do some of those workshops from time to time.
That's right.
Cool.
Well,
all right. Well, have a safe night, everybody.
Thanks for having me on. See you around.